It was just another Monday morning in Los Angeles as Boris Yarrow listened to the radio and tried to plan his day. He was a photographer for the LA Times, and for him, being ahead of every story was key to getting the best shots. So, on January 19, 1981, when Boris heard reports of a possible suicidal jumper, he called his editor immediately. To his surprise, the editor wasn't interested. We'll never be sure exactly why, but perhaps there was simply too much on his plate that day. Boris, however, had a gut feeling that he should at least check out the situation for himself. Camera ready, he drove over to Los Angeles' Miracle Mile, where a young black man known as Joe was perched on an office building fire escape about 9 floors up and had been there for hours. According to police, he seemed to think he was in Vietnam, with the Viet Cong coming at him. A crowd was gathering on the streets below and took morbid delight in goading Joe to jump to his death. Up above, police officers, a psychologist, and a chaplain all took turns leaning out of a nearby window, desperately imploring him to come back inside. "I'm no good," he shouted, throwing his legs over the side and getting closer to death whenever someone got too close to him. "I'm going to jump." It was shortly after that that the truly unexpected happened. In the midst of the crowd, emergency services, and normal Miracle Mile traffic, a beautiful Rolls-Royce pulled up, lights flashing. Out of the car stepped a man wearing a suit and tie, along with a look of determination. The former heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali. Hi, I'm Garvin DeShazer, and this is your daily inspiration. Ali was there that day thanks to a call from his friend Howard Bingham, who had been on the scene. Ali, who happened to live nearby, received that call and rushed to the scene. Photographer Boris Yarrow watched Ali run into the building and captured photos of what happened next. The fighter, a serious expression on his face, seemed to lean casually out the window. His attention was focused completely on Joe, to the point that Joe nearly fell in his efforts to get a look at the legendary figure in front of him. According to the LA Times account, Ali shouted to Joe, "You're my brother. I love you and I couldn't lie to you." Within a short time, Ali did what no other had been able to do. He made his way to the fire escape, put his arm around Joe's shoulder, and guided him to safety inside. From there, the two walked out of the building together, got into Ali's car, and after a brief stop at the police station, Ali personally took Joe to the nearest VA hospital. Let's step back for a moment and examine where Muhammad Ali was at this point in his life. His boxing career was definitively over after a devastating loss against his friend Larry Holmes the previous October, and in 3 years' time, he would be diagnosed with Parkinson's, a disease that ultimately caused the champion to withdraw almost entirely from public life. Ali was no longer on top of the world, or even in his physical prime, and yet, when he heard of a man in desperate need, he didn't hesitate to jump into his car and race to help. What drives a man to do this? One obvious answer comes from Robert Lipsyte, a former reporter for the LA Times who spent a considerable amount of his career chronicling Ali's. And he remembers the narcissism, the wanting to be loved, the need for constant attention. However, looking at Ali's life as a whole, there may be another truth that would be easily overlooked. Ali believed in himself. From the age of 12, passing out flyers to promote his own fights, to the 22-year-old calling himself the greatest before his championship bout against Sonny Liston, and even when he was defeated by Holmes months before, his self-belief was indefatigable. Nothing is as simple as it appears, unfortunately. According to police reports, Joe was, quote, badly disturbed, and he was only 21, much too young to have served in the Vietnam War, as he claimed. Nonetheless, 2 days after the incident, Ali announced at a press conference that he would be buying Joe clothes and taking him home to Michigan. While we will never know what the results were or what happened to Joe later, we can hope that Ali's support and inspiration to him were only the first steps in a journey of recovery. There are endless stories of people who have been inspired by Muhammad Ali over the years for a variety of reasons. Inspiration, black pride, protesting against a senseless war, and so many other things. Ali was undoubtedly a legendary boxer, but he remains the greatest to many because of his humanity. Robert Lipside had much more to say about Ali. There were more reasons that he would try and talk a man off the ledge beyond just his narcissism, according to him. The other part was that he was capable of almost casual acts of kindness. In some sort of ways, he talked a lot of people off the ledge. When I think about Muhammad Ali, I think about a guy who made people brave. That's what he did. If you allowed yourself to be unshackled from self-doubt, who in your world could you talk off the ledge today? Who could become a little braver with some authentic, encouraging words from you? Whether it is literally preventing someone from self-harm or simply taking the time to show your heart to someone who needs love, you can make a difference for someone who needs it today. All you need to do is step out on the ledge with them. Thanks for listening. May you have the courage to make a difference for someone today, and may your day be filled with love, laughter, and infinite joy. Bye for now.
Hi, this is Scott Sampson, producer for the Daily Inspirations podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Want more inspiration in your life? Check out our blog for weekend stories of hope and uplifting news. If you've been enjoying the podcast, we hope you'll take a moment today and rate and review us and tell everyone in your circle so they can get the same inspiration that we hope you've received today. We have big plans for this podcast and we want you to be part of it. Visit dailyinspirationsandmeditations.com to contact us with your own inspirational stories or just to say hi.